In this video, we will show you all the steps required to ensure a quality installation of Resist Sand Epoxy Overlay System. For this transformation, the project is a driveway in the Pacific Northwest that had seen better days. An unattractive, worn, exposed aggregate surface with pitting and cracks had worn out its welcome for this property owner. Resist was selected based on the following criteria. Cost-effective. The owner wanted a surface that would not be slippery. The aesthetics of the solution needed to work with the exterior of the home. And the owner also had concerns about damage to landscape, irrigation, and underground utilities. This driveway was approximately 1,000 square feet, and the installation was completed in 2 days with a 3-person crew. The first step for this project was to mechanically prepare the existing concrete in order to create a concrete surface profile of 2 to 3. This CSP is critical to ensuring that the surface is not only clean and sound, but also has a texture that conforms to the requirements of the Resist epoxy system. This was achieved on this project by profiling the concrete with a concrete grinder using 50 grit diamond profiling discs. Depending on the size of the job, this can be done with a walk-behind or handheld machine or a suitable shot blaster. After the surface of the concrete was ground and cleaned up, any cracks were filled with TK 9030 Epoxy Crack Repair and Resist Sand. They were then ground flush and cleaned. This will fast-track the crack treatment process and allow the next steps in the project to take place within 30 minutes. For other situations where turnaround time is less critical, the Resist epoxy can be used in a similar fashion. In areas where the concrete was pitted and damaged, the surface was repaired using a blend of Resist epoxy and sand before being ground down. Now that the area is ready to receive the Resist system, organize both parts A and B of the epoxy, sand, tools, and mixing buckets so everything is ready to roll. It is important to manage each job by understanding the capabilities of your crew relative to the size of the project. It's also a good idea to make 2-gallon batches at a time, which provides an ample amount of time for the technicians to place the materials before the epoxy begins to set up. Under normal conditions of 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, this is approximately 20 minutes. Mix equal parts of Part A and Part B for 3 minutes. If you are using a colored version of Resist, add the universal tint paste into Part B and blend until uniform. This typically takes 1 minute. On this project, we use the Armorstone Premier aggregate, but remember, if a colored aggregate has been selected, the corresponding tint paste is required. The standard dosage rate for the universal tints is 1 quart per 2 gallons of mixed Resist epoxy. After mixing is complete, pour the Resist epoxy out onto the slab so the material does not remain in the bucket and heat up. Once the mixed Resist epoxy is poured out onto the slab in ribbons, the next step is to evenly spread the material with an 8 to 12 mil gauge squeegee. This ensures a proper thickness coverage and also helps ensure a consistent appearance for the sand. After this is completed, immediately follow behind with a 3/8 inch nap roller to smooth out any lines created by the squeegee process. For projects where you are not filling existing control joints, you can use a chip brush to remove any excess Resist epoxy from the joint prior to broadcasting the sand. Utilize a chip brush to ensure the Resist epoxy is not overly applied on any finished surfaces. To achieve a complete and professional look, use the chip brush to wrap the Resist epoxy onto any exposed edges of the slab. Once a sufficient amount of the area has been rolled out, it's time to begin broadcasting the Resist sand that has been selected. The sand should be broadcast at a rate of 150 square feet per 50-pound bag. It is ideal to keep your broadcast contained as best as possible to the immediate area where you are working with the epoxy. Once the sand has been broadcast, it is important to observe the slab for several minutes to ensure that a sufficient amount of sand has been applied. If a dark or shiny area appears, apply more sand until it disappears. After allowing the Resist epoxy to cure for 2 to 4 hours, the next step is to remove any of the sand that did not bond to the epoxy. This is done by blowing it off the surface, followed by scraping with a flat floor scraper to the point where there is no additional sand coming off the epoxy. This material can be recovered and reused provided there are no contaminants mixed in. For projects that will have vehicular traffic exposure, you will now drop back and repeat the epoxy and sand broadcast a second time. The final step of this system is to apply a Resist-compatible sealer. Our all-purpose sealer is the Resist Top Coat, which is a VOC-compliant solvent-based acrylic. This product is a great general-purpose sealer that provides a color-enhancing semi-gloss film. This sealer assists in the ease of cleanup from general exterior conditions and can easily be reapplied as a maintenance coat over time. With our robust family of brands, we offer multiple options that are compatible with the Resist system to meet any and all of your environmental needs. The preferred method of application is spray and back roll, using a high-quality industrial-grade pump-up sprayer or applied with an approved commercial siphon sprayer. If you bridge the Resist system over saw cuts, your final step would be to open those joints back up with a diamond blade grinder or saw. Blow off the residue and the project is complete. We offer a total of 8 beautiful colorways that fit nicely into a variety of environmental circumstances and needs. Looking back at our homeowners' criteria, our Resist system was able to achieve every item on their list and exceed their expectation of the final result. For additional resources, including product calculators, technical data sheets, brochures, and more, please visit our website.